Hello, I'm Jessica Miles, and this is going to be my informative speech. Here's my card, so you know who I am. You can clearly see my audience there. And we'll get started. In 1971, Stanford University had a prison in its basement. By the end of my speech, you're going to understand what the Stanford Prison Experiment was, how it was conducted, and some of the results. Standing here, I can understand that you as my audience is going to behave in a certain way because often situation dictates behavior. In the late 60s, there was a serious problem in the prison system in California where they were having a series of fatal riots. They were wondering, is this, are the people more evil or more violent than they used to be? Or is it just the situation that's become worse? The head of the department in psychology in the Stanford University decided he was going to conduct an experiment. First thing he had to do was to acquire subjects for his experiment. Back then, when you needed employees, what'd you do? Ad in the newspaper, right? So the ad read they needed male college students to participate in an experiment for prison life. He ended up having a huge response because the pay was really good for back then. So what he did was he had to make sure that his participants weren't emotionally damaged already. So he conducted personality tests and psychological testing to make sure that he would acquire the cream of the crop. What he acquired was 18 participants. So half of them were going to be guards and half of them were going to be prisoners. So, to make it completely random, decided who was going to be who by a flip of the coin. Easy as that. All of them were told they could leave at any time, no obligations, with full pay, so they didn't have to stay. The prisoners, on the other hand, were told that your human rights are going to be violated. The guards, on the other hand, were told one thing only, and it was straight from the California Prison Manual. They were told that they were to maintain a reasonable degree of order within the prison for its effective function. So that's the only rules that they were given. Zimbardo himself was acting as the warden. So, from there, the prisoners, okay, bye-bye, they were sent home. They were told that we'll be in contact with you. The guards, on the other hand, they got to build a prison. So, from here, on day one of the experiment, the prisoners were surprised. They were arrested by real police officers in their house, in front of their family, in front of their friends, in front of their neighbors. Nobody knew what was going on. The prisoners had an idea, but nobody else did. They were taken to their local police department and booked for armed burglary, and everything was just as they were a real criminal. However, at that point, they were blindfolded and taken to the school. When they arrived at the school, they got to see their lovely warden. Well, not the warden, this is the prison guards. Nice outfit, nightstick, mirrored glasses, so there was no personal contact. And at this point, according to the American Journal of Hospice, the prisoners wore nice, lovely smock there, kind of like a dress. The number, because they were now a number, they weren't a person anymore. They put a stocking on their head to represent having a shaved head, a chain and a lock around their ankles, so they knew that they were a prisoner at all time, and no underwear. This lovely wardrobe was only issued to them after they went through delousing, because once you go to prison, you are deloused. They made them strip down naked and sprayed them with a delousing agent. And at that point, you stand naked in front of the guards while they make fun of you and demean you. According to the New York Magazine, this was a turning point. The guards immediately felt empowered, and the inmates were completely humiliated. Instantly showed signs of being submissive, depressed, and depersonalized. According to a BBC documentary, the prisoners just lost complete touch with reality almost instantly. Abuse escalated very quickly. The prison guards overstepped their boundaries. They actually did physical harm to their prisoners. And one specific situation, a prisoner requested from Zimbardo to be let go. I can't take anymore. And rather than being a psychologist said, okay, no problem, here's your pay, go home. He said, I'll tell you what, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, you tell me information about your fellow prisoners, I'll make sure the guards lay off. So he was sent back to his cell. He flipped out. He thought he wasn't allowed to leave. started screaming out at the top of his lungs. And they actually did release him. Another situation had occurred where, according to the American Journal of Hospice, they had a parole meeting. Parole was denied. One of the prisoners broke out into a psychosomatic rash all over his body. He literally had a physical response to this emotional situation he was in, so he was released. Some of these situations were witnessed by his colleagues, Dr. Zimbardo's colleagues, and they said, Dr. Farr, you have got to stop this. So on day 6 of a 14-day experiment, it was ended. Dr. Zimbardo actually followed some of his volunteers. They ended up having emotional problems for the rest of their lives. And unfortunately, some of them did become prison guards. This led to changes in ethical guidelines for experiments. This experiment exposed that even under a very short amount of time, environment definitely can contribute to the behavior. So we have covered the what and the how of the Stanford Prison Experiment, how it changed people, and some of its results. According to Dr. Zimbardo, he was so physically affected by this, he didn't even write his book for many years. Here are my references. Thank you.